channel. I'm back to break down this 14-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into the breakdown, if you enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all MLB DFS season long, breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players, help you guys win some money night in and night out. For some of my loyal viewers, apologies for the content lately. I've been going through a move. As you can see, I think I'm finally settled down a little more than I was before. So hopefully moving forward, I'm going to be making some more improvements to the content as far as quality and all that stuff's concerned. Just bear with me over the next couple weeks as I continue to adjust. And I also do have an update as far as moving forward on the sheets. Oftentimes, I was referring to the last 2 years for data. After the All-Star break, I've made the adjustment of now the data that we're talking about is going to be relevant only to this season. So sample size is very important to me when it comes to pitching data and all that fun stuff. So now that we have enough data to work with, that's going to be another adjustment that I made on the sheet as we continue to talk along here. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. So as always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Robbie Ray taking on the Texas Rangers. Comes in with a 32% K rate overall, a 15.3 swinging strike rate, 31% K rate against righties, and a 35.6% K rate against lefties. Very, very good across the board. And he's taking on a Texas Rangers team tonight that strikes out a bunch. He comes in as a 244 favorite, expected to pick up the win fairly easily here. And the Rangers only have 3.82 implied run total, so going to be a great spot for Robbie Ray, priced at 9.8 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they're going to price at 9.3. So he's definitely one of the top options, if not the top option on the slate today. Gotta like him a lot. Second on the list, we got Kevin Gausman taking on St. Louis Cardinals. Comes in with a 30.5% K overall, a 15.7 swinging strike rate, 30.2% K rate against righties, and a 30.8% K rate against lefties. Over a 30% clip against both sides of the plate once again. Very impressive strikeout stuff, and he's taking on a St. Louis Cardinals team tonight. Not the easiest matchup in the world, but definitely not the hardest, and it's in St. Louis, which is a good pitcher's ballpark. Gausman typically pitches in a good pitcher's ballpark anyways out there in San Francisco, but you still got to like him. He's 10.6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they're going to price at 10.3. Another great option on this slate today. I have a feeling he's not going to be quite as heavy of a favorite as Robbie Ray is with the big Blue Jay bats to back him up, but Gausman, nevertheless, going to be another guy you're looking to today. We got Brandon Woodruff taking on the Cincinnati Reds, another very talented arm, 29.9% K overall, a 28.7% K rate against righties, and a 30.9% K rate against lefties. Definitely going to have a lot of K upside here. As far as the pitching environment and the matchup, the Cincinnati Reds aren't exactly the easiest matchup in the world, and it is in Cincinnati, the Great American Small Park, which you don't really like to target all too much. So for that reason, you might find that Woodruff might not crack the top of your list compared to some of these other guys that we just talked about because, you know, there's easier matchups in better ballparks. I mean, Woodruff is a great talent, so with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised to see you go there. I'm definitely interested to see, you know, some K-prop data and that kind of thing that I always be analyzing with these guys. We do have Tyler Mahle taking on the Milwaukee Brewers, which is a team that's been striking out a bunch on the season as well. Another great matchup for him as far as upside. 29.5% K overall, 26.6% K rate against righties, and a 32.6% K rate against lefties. Very good across the board once again. Does strike out lefties at a much higher clip than righties so far in the season, so we do prefer to target him against some lefties if at all possible, and the Milwaukee Brewers definitely do provide that for us. Just added another lefty to the lineup as well in Rowdy Tellez, and a lineup that just strike out a bunch, as mentioned. So Tyler Mahle definitely making some sense. Dylan Cease taking on the Houston team that doesn't really strike out all that much. I'm not too interested in. Andrew Heaney taking on the Seattle Mariners team that definitely you can target. He does have a 31.7% K rate against righties. The problem is his recent data, if I'm not wrong, if I remember before the break, he was really struggling. So it's going to be kind of difficult going to Heaney, honestly, as far as his recent performances. He's priced at 7.4. You can see he gave up 3, 7, 5, and 3 earned runs before the break. That game before the break taking on Boston, that was a pretty decent outing. So really a hit or miss target. He definitely does have the upside. Seattle doesn't scare us all too much, but I'm a little scared to go there. Julio Urias is in Coors Field in Colorado, so I'm not really all that interested there. Charlie Morton taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. They're definitely a team that's been striking out quite a bit. He has a 27.7% K overall, a 25.6% K rate against righties, and a 31% K rate against lefties. And the Rays are definitely a left-handed heavy lineup when it comes to facing right-handed pitching. So I think that he's in a great spot to pick up some Ks as well. Charlie Morton continues to really look a lot better as we continue along the season here. He was looking a little bit rough early on. I think the last few outings he's had, he's looked really, really sharp. And he gets another pretty good matchup here. He had 7, 7, and 7 Ks last 3 times out. 6, 5.1, and 7 innings pitched. So Morton definitely making sense. Lance McCullers Jr. taking on the Chicago White Sox. We have quite a bit of pitching options on the slate, to be honest. It's a huge slate. As I'm going along here, there's definitely quite a few that make sense. I would say that once we get to McCullers, though, that this is where there's definitely a drop-off in tier. So he's going to be the last guy that I kind of talked about here. And maybe I'll mention a few sneaky guys to you, but taking on the Chicago White Sox, 26.4% K overall, 28.9% K rate against righties, and a 23.1% K rate against lefties. Definitely some good K stuff overall. Definitely a lot better against righties, though. And when you're looking at the Chicago White Sox lineup up and down, they are pretty right-handed heavy. You know, they have a few lefties bunted in there, but for the most part, you're looking at a lot of lefties. They got Moncada, Brian Goodwin, Larry Garcia, and Gavin Sheets in there, expected to toss it for lefties. Pretty decent matchup for McCullers, and he does come as a 141 favorite. So that's when things take a dip off. You have Danny Duffy taking on the Baltimore Orioles. They're definitely team that's been striking out quite a bit. You can look there. Chris Bassett taking on the Cleveland Indians. He's definitely a decent option overall. Chris Paddock taking on the Washington Nationals. He's definitely a decent option overall. And then anyone else on the slate today, honestly, I'm not really looking to. You have Marcus Stroman taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's a great ground ball, fly ball pitcher if you want to go there. I just worry a little bit about the K upside. And that's what I'd really be looking to for pitching on the slate. So with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, scaling our active ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in his career and how good he's expected to be in the future. And the worst on the slate today is going to be Matt Manning taking on the Minnesota Twins. So the problem is this game is the second half of a doubleheader. And it's only going to be 7 innings, so it's only going to be over there on DraftKings, and it's only 7 innings. So make with that what you will. I will say Matt Manning is really bad. Minnesota Twins stack over there in DraftKings definitely does make some sense. Might not get the full 9 innings out of them, but Manning's terrible. Detroit bullpen's terrible. You could definitely be stacking up those Twins. Just keep in mind it's not as long as you would think. Jordan Lyles taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. He has an 18.2% K overall, 10.5 swinging strike rate. The hard contact stuff's really bad. He gives up a 540 slugging to righties, 385 slugging to lefties. So has really struggled against right-handed power, and that's going to be a problem for him taking on a Toronto Blue Jays team today. That's just absolutely loaded with right-handed talent. Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, Randall Grichuk, Lourdes Gurriel. Just absolutely stacked up and down and stacked with right-handed talent. So that's going to be a problem for Jordan Lyles today. Definitely got to like the Toronto Blue Jays stack. You got Martin Perez taking on the New York Yankees. It does look like there's some conflicting reports on whether it's going to be Martin Perez or Eduardo Rodriguez. As of, when I created my sheets, it did look like it was going to be Martin Perez. So as far as his stuff, he really does struggle a lot more against righties. The same rule is going to apply for Eduardo Rodriguez as well. I know that for a fact. So we're looking at kind of a similar situation here with a lefty hurler that does give up some hard contact to righties if, either one of these guys takes the bump. And the Yankees definitely do have a very right-handed heavy lineup. It's in Yankee Stadium, which is a great ballpark for home runs. Pulling up the chart that I always like to show you guys, green across the board as far as Yankee Stadium is concerned. And, going to be a good spot for these Yankees bats for sure. The right-handed power bats, DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Giancarlo Stanton, Luke Voit, Gleyber Torres. And the problem is we're dealing with some COVID protocols. I believe Aaron Judge was one of those guys listed. Gio Urshela was one of those guys listed. Dealing with COVID protocols, so there's a chance that this Yankees lineup is pretty watered down, and if that's the case, maybe we can make an argument for the Red Sox pitcher who takes the bump today. I don't know. We have some unanswered questions there, I guess. Eric Fetty taking on the San Diego Padres. Ground ball, fly ball stuff really isn't the greatest. He gives up a 393 slugging to righties, a 407 slugging to lefties. Definitely does struggle against the righties more so than lefties as far as hard contact, ground ball, fly ball stuff. So the San Diego Padres righties, we're definitely going to have some interest in more so than lefties. I think you could stack up this team all around today. It's in Washington. It's a great a great hitting environment. 92 degrees, 5-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. They have a 5.1 implied run total. Definitely going to like this stack today. And my favorites would be Tommy Pham, Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado at the top of the order. Those right-handed bats. And of course, you can mix in Jake Cronenworth, Trent Grisham, Eric Hosmer to round out your stack. So I like that today. Chris Flexen taking on the Los Angeles Angels. 16.9% K overall. Ground ball fly ball stuff's respectable, not the greatest in the world though. A 412 slugging given up to righties and a 385 slugging given up to lefties. Definitely does struggle more so against right-handed hitting. As far as the Angels are concerned, they don't really have the most talent from the right-handed side of the plate, to be honest. So for that reason, I'm not as interested in this stack as I would be typically. They do have a 5.03 implied run total. I'm sure they'll go out there and score some runs, but yeah, I don't know. Not the most interesting spot for me. Kyle Hendricks taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ground ball, fly ball stuff is not really the greatest. The hard contact stuff isn't the worst, though, at all. He's really been struggling against left-handed hitting, however, on the season. He gives up a 530 slugging with a 376 WOBA against those lefties. Hard contact still not the worst, but the ground ball, fly ball stuff isn't the most impressive. So the Arizona Diamondbacks lefties, I really think you could be targeting. It's in Arizona. I always like to target the left-handed bats in Arizona. Pulling up the diagram that I like to show you guys. Chase Field, great ballpark to target left-handed hitting. So Josh Rojas, Pavin Smith, Eduardo Escobar, Cole Calhoun, David Peralta, Stephen Vogt, all those lefties that crack that lineup are definitely going to be intriguing options today. Keegan Akin taking out the Kansas City Royals, lefty hurler that really gives up a lot of hard contact to righties, a lot of fly balls as well. Gives up a lot of hard contact to lefties as well. Much more of a higher K rate and less of ground ball, fly ball issues against lefties is the only thing. So we could really target these Kansas City righties that have some power. It's in Kansas City. As far as the guys we're looking to, pretty much any righty that cracks the lineup in, that's going to be practically every single guy in this lineup except for Nicky Lopez. Whit Merrifield, Carlos Santana, Salvador Perez, Jorge Soler, Michael Taylor, Hunter Dozier, Hanser Alberto. Every single one of those guys excels more against lefties than righties, I believe, outside of Carlos Santana. But they're all good against left-handed pitching. You got to like this spot today. The Baltimore Orioles bullpen isn't really the greatest, so I like the Royals stack. Eli Morgan taking on the Oakland Athletics has been a guy that's been absolutely terrible as far as ground ball, hard contact rates, especially against right-handed hitting. A 800 slug and giving up ground ball, fly ball stuff's been terrible. A 501 WOBA. Scary bad numbers against right-handed hitting, and he's taking on Oakland's squad tonight in Oakland, which is a little less than ideal because it's not the best hitting environment out there, but Ramon Laureano, Elvis Andrews, Matt Chapman, Sean Murphy, Stephen Piscotty, all these righties with power, and then Matt Olson and Jed Lowry to round out your stacks. It's not as if he's the best pitcher in the world against lefties either. Really struggles against both sides of the plate, but really the righties we're going to really like today for sure. We have Antonio Senzatella in Coors Field taking on this Los Angeles Dodgers team. That's a little scary for him. Really doesn't strike anyone out. The ground ball fly ball stuff's pretty good. Does give a 472 slugging to righties and a 428 slugging to lefties, however. And really, the moral of the story is the ball's going to be put in play. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. They have arguably the best lineup in baseball. They have the best hitting environment in baseball in Coors Field. It's 85 degrees. There's 9-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. And going to be hard to avoid this one today. I mean, typically, I fade Coors a lot to try to get different. But when you have a lineup like this in a matchup and then the Rockies bullpen is terrible, going to be hard to avoid. Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, AJ Pollock, Gavin Lux can play 1 through 8 without even blinking an eye. Love the spot for sure today in Coors Field. Michael Wacha taking on the Atlanta Braves. Very easy to explain his career so far and the season. It's the same story. Reverse splits pitcher, right-handed pitcher that struggles more so against right-handed power. A 5'11 slugging given up this season, 49% hard contact rate, a 350 WOBA against those right-handed bats. So the Atlanta Braves righties are going to be a good stack today if you're looking to go there. The only problem is they have to take on the Tampa Bay Rays bullpen. The Rays do have a very quick pull on their starting pitching. So, that's less than ideal. But Austin Riley, Orlando Arcia, Dansby Swanson, Heredia, Kevin Smith, all those righties going to be making for some intriguing plays today for sure. Lance McCullers taking on the Chicago White Sox. We had mentioned I don't really want to target him, to be honest, so that's a no from me. Madison Bumgarner taking on the Chicago Cubs. Definitely a guy that has some hard contact ground ball issues, and specifically against right-handed hitting, really got to like the spot there. A 475 slug, giving up 41.4% hard contact rate, 47.3% fly ball rate. Definitely a guy I love targeting with some right-handed power. So the Chicago Cubs bats today are going to be a great option for me. The Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen doesn't scare me either, so Wilson Contreras, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, Patrick Wisdom, Nico Horner. Love all these guys for sure. Taking on Bumgarner today. Maeda is on the second half of back-to-back. I'm not really getting all that excited to target him. And then as we move along here, honestly, things start to get a little bit less intriguing to target. Really, the next group of guys we're targeting is right in this range of Brubaker, Paddock, and Heaney. And they're all very similar in the sense that they all struggle against right-handed hitting the most. So those would be the last three I'm really looking to target, and it's all with righties. So the New York Mets, Washington Nationals, and Seattle Mariners righties. I don't think that these guys are going to have the craziest of odds of really going off. The New York Mets are in Pittsburgh, not the best hitting environment. They only have a 4.33 implied run total. I'm not getting all too excited about that one. As far as the next guy that we're talking about here in Chris Flexen and the Angels, we already talked about. We have Chris Paddock and Andrew Heaney, as we were discussing. Andrew Heaney taking on Seattle could definitely be an intriguing stack to stack up these the Mariners, because they're going to be very low owned. I said he's been blown up in the past, so no issues with you going there. And then as far as the Washington Nationals bats, honestly, there's not too many righties that I'd get all too excited from the power aspect to target this lineup, but they do have a 4.4 implied run total. Is good weather in Washington, could definitely go to them. It's just the Padres bullpen's pretty good as well, so that kind of makes me have a limited interest in targeting them, to be honest. And then Domingo Germán against the Boston Red Sox is the guy that I forgot to mention that we could definitely target as well. Hard contact against righties, hard contact against lefties really hasn't been all that good, to be honest, on the whole season. And the Red Sox are in Yankee Stadium, great hitting environment there. They're definitely going to make for a viable stack taking on Domingo Germán. I think you can do it from both sides of the plate. I think you can just target that power. Enrique Hernandez, Alex Verdugo, JD Martinez, Sander Bogaerts, Rafael Devers, Hunter Renfroe, Christian Vasquez, Bobby Dalbec. They all make for intriguing plays in this one for sure. And with that being said, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Javi Baez, doubling down on the thumbnail boy in the home run call of the day. Comes in with a 475 slug, giving up a dozen Madison Bumgarner against right-handed hitting. As mentioned, a lot of fly ball, hard contact stuff going on. Only a 22.4% K rate, and when looking at his repertoire taking on this Cubbies team today, really reliant on the fastball, the cutter, and the curveball, and Javi Baez crushes all those pitches against the cutter. A 333 ISO with a 563 WOBA off left-handed pitching. The fastball crushes as well. A 230 ISO with a 395 WOBA, and the curveball not an issue either. A 273 ISO with a 255 WOBA. Love this spot for Javi Baez. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Javi Baez. Get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.